At the beginning of Avengers Endgame, Doctor Strange claims that he looked into the future using his magic and saw only one timeline where Thanos was defeated. But I'm sorry, that just doesn't make sense. I can think of at least 5 other ways that Thanos could have been stopped without any of the Avengers traveling back in time, which means Doctor Strange either lied or he is even more pathetic than we thought. So here are 6 times Doctor Strange could have beaten Thanos. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting these videos. It really means a lot to me. If you're a fan of these videos and want to support them even more, consider supporting us. We appreciate it. But anyways, let's begin. Number 6. He could have taken the Time Stone earlier. So in Doctor Strange, when Doctor Strange first obtains the Eye of Agamotto, which houses the Time Stone, he does something pretty dumb. He waits until the last second possible to actually use the Time Stone. He could have used the Time Stone pretty much whenever he wanted. Like when he was fighting Dormammu, he literally had the power to rewind time and undo all the damage that he did to the city and prevent anyone from dying. And he could have done this from the very beginning. Why didn't he? Well, I guess he just did unwanted because Doctor Strange kind of has a habit of letting things go to the very last second before he decides to actually do something. But even if Doctor Strange didn't realize that he could actually take the Time Stone, Thanos obviously knew that the Time Stone was inside of Doctor Strange. So why didn't Thanos just, kill Doctor Strange? That was literally his plan in Infinity War. Like Thanos went to Doctor Strange, threatened him, and demanded the Time Stone. So why did Thanos just kill Doctor Strange and take the Time Stone when he had the chance in Endgame? Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about next. No. 5. He should have killed Thanos when he had the chance. At the beginning of Endgame, after Thanos snapped his fingers and caused half of all life in the universe to disappear, Thanos goes to Doctor Strange and demands the Time Stone once again. But instead of just killing Thanos right then and there, Doctor Strange negotiates with him. I mean, look, Doctor Strange isn't strong enough to fight Thanos without the Time Stone, so he probably wasn't going to be able to beat Thanos in a fight. But still, I feel like Doctor Strange could have just fought Thanos and tried to, cause an injury that would stop him from snapping his fingers. And while that might not have completely solved the problem, I feel like it definitely would have helped. Like even if Doctor Strange couldn't actually hurt Thanos, he could have made him drop the gauntlet. But even if Doctor Strange somehow managed to take the gauntlet off of Thanos, Thanos was still going to come back and try to get it back. So ultimately, Doctor Strange probably wasn't going to be able to defeat Thanos permanently by force. But my point is that Doctor Strange should have at least put up more of a fight. Instead of just giving Thanos the Time Stone, Doctor Strange literally handed Thanos the key to undoing everything that had happened. It was such a dumb move, especially since Thanos had literally murdered half of everyone that Doctor Strange cared about. Thanos killed Peter Parker, Doctor Strange's apprentice. He killed Wang, Doctor Strange's friend and fellow Sorcerer Supreme. And he even killed Doctor Strange's girlfriend, Christine Palmer. So I feel like Doctor Strange should have had some anger left in him, something that would motivate him to at least put up a fight. But nope, he just decided to surrender. He surrendered despite knowing that Thanos would come back and he would end up killing him and all of his friends again. 4. He didn't have to trust Thanos. Okay, sure, Doctor Strange may not have been strong enough to defeat Thanos on his own, but he didn't have to trust him. I mean, Doctor Strange could have just ran away and hid, like Peter Parker, who was only 16 years old, was able to escape from Thanos. I mean, it's not like Thanos could have just flew through the portal with Doctor Strange and followed him to wherever he went. So Doctor Strange could have easily escaped and lived to fight another day. But Doctor Strange didn't do that, and instead he trusted Thanos and he went with him to some random planet. Now, I will admit, this did pay off in the end because Thanos destroyed the gauntlet, and that meant that Doctor Strange was able to use the Time Stone without any consequences. But honestly, I feel like Doctor Strange got pretty lucky that Thanos actually destroyed the gauntlet. If Thanos hadn't done that, then Doctor Strange would have just been screwed, because he wouldn't be able to go home, and he would have no way of getting the Time Stone back. 3. He could have just killed Thanos. During the final battle in Endgame, Doctor Strange gets a hold of Thanos, and he is finally able to take the Time Stone from him. And this is really his big moment. This is the moment where he can make all of those sacrifices worth it. But no, instead he doesn't kill Thanos. I mean, listen, I understand why Doctor Strange didn't kill Thanos. Thanos had surrendered, and Doctor Strange was a hero, and heroes don't kill people who surrender. But still, Thanos had murdered half of everyone that Doctor Strange cared about, including his friends and girlfriend. And Thanos had caused the deaths of trillions upon trillions of people. So I think killing Thanos would have been justified. But even if Doctor Strange didn't want to kill Thanos himself, I feel like he should have at least allowed Tony Stark to kill him. Tony was the one who had lost his family to Thanos. He was the one who had a personal vendetta against him. And Tony was also willing to sacrifice himself to defeat Thanos. So I feel like Tony should have been the one to deal the final blow. But instead, Doctor Strange prevented Tony from getting revenge by literally ripping the time stone out of his chest. 2. He could have fixed it with the time stone. After Doctor Strange obtained the time stone, he could have just fixed everything with it. He could have undone Thanos' snap and brought everyone back. Or he could have traveled back in time and prevented Thanos from ever becoming a threat in the first place. So why didn't he do that? Well, that brings me to my final point. Number 1. Strange's motives were selfish. Look, if you think about it, it makes sense that Doctor Strange didn't want to bring everyone back. In Doctor Strange, he basically loses everything: his career, his relationship with his girlfriend, and his hands, all to become the new Sorcerer Supreme. And in Endgame, he has to watch all of those people die. He watches his friends turn to dust. He watches his patients die. He watches his girlfriend die. And he watches every single person that he's ever saved die. Now, I know that Doctor Strange isn't a sociopath. He doesn't take joy in other people's suffering. But still, I think he understood how bringing everyone back would affect him personally. Like he knew that it would break his heart to watch all of those people die. But he also knew that it would break his heart if he didn't let them die. Because in a way, watching those people die made him stronger. It made him more powerful. It forced him to grow. And maybe that's why he didn't bring them back. Maybe he felt like he needed their deaths in order to become a better hero. Or maybe he felt guilty for being responsible for their deaths in the first place. Maybe he thought that if he brought them back, then he would forever be haunted by their deaths. Like in the comics, there's a storyline where Doctor Strange literally brings someone back from the dead, and it ends up causing him psychological problems. So who knows? Maybe that's why Doctor Strange didn't bring everyone back. Maybe he thought it was better for him to live in a world where everyone was dead, rather than a world where everyone was alive. Now, before I end this video, I do want to say that I think Marvel had a responsibility to explore Doctor Strange's trauma in a better way. Like in the MCU, Thanos literally murders half of everyone that Doctor Strange cares about, and then, in the next movie, Doctor Strange is just acting like nothing happened. Like in Endgame, he is cracking jokes and being sarcastic, and he seems completely unfazed by the fact that he just watched half of everyone die. Like that was a huge missed opportunity for character development, and that's the thing. Doctor Strange is probably the most traumatized person in the entire MCU. Like he's literally seen the deaths of trillions upon trillions of people. He's dealt with interdimensional beings that wanted to destroy reality, and he's had to balance the scales of life and death countless times. But instead of exploring Doctor Strange's trauma, instead of showing how that's affected him, Marvel just chose to ignore it. They just chose to pretend that everything's fine when it clearly isn't. And speaking of ignoring things, Thanos didn't do his research. So if you want to learn more about that, check out this video right here. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.